Good morning. Welcome to the Pasadena Buddhist Temple here on February 27th of 2022. We're going to have our weekly service here, and I will start by ringing the calling bell outside the Kansho. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Good morning. Thank you for joining us for this service. I'm going to lose the mask now, wear them outside, wear them in public, but I do want you to be able to hear me. And our production crew here, Alan Goto, Jeannie Toshima, Kyoko Gregory Gibbs, and Kathy Mikuni, are a good 25 feet away from me, not quite as far as in the temple. And our other tech person, our other production crew person, Kathy Kumagai, is off campus doing the tech stuff with tech. So thank you for helping me, and thank those of you who joined us. We are again recording on the 27th of February, last Sunday in February of 2022. Now last week was our Nirvana Day and Pet Memorial Service, so I had a set theme. This week I am free to focus on any of the important points about our spiritual tradition that we sometimes or usually address in these Dharma messages, or something else. I hope you will bear with me as I address the Buddhist view of the world and toss in a little thing about why we don't talk much about emptiness. From the beginning, Shakyamuni Buddha and his most advanced students had a lot to say about spirituality, a lot to say about what we now call psychology, a lot to say about philosophy, about day-to-day guidance on how to live, guidance for living in the world. But at the origins, the first century or so, the monks, nuns, the Buddha himself did not have much to say about the world, about the nature of the world. From the beginning, we Buddhists seem to have viewed the world in rather neutral terms. At the beginning, it's just there, It's there, we have to deal with it. What more is there to say? For about a century, that was our view of the world. About 2,400 years ago, 2,300 years ago, the monks, nuns, and lay aficionados of the Buddha Dharma in India, they were asking questions, again, like, how can I avoid getting angry? How can I learn to be content with what I have? How can I avoid being so swayed by my desires? About the same time, philosophers in Greece were asking questions about the world, like, isn't everything made out of water? It was Thales. Isn't the fundamental reality a burning fire? Or aren't we all evolving from fish to lizards to mammals? Some people don't know that. That theory of evolution came in the 6th century before the Common Era. Anaximander felt that, yeah, those lizards came from fish, and the mammals, we came from lizards. Rather straightforward, less complex than Darwin's, of course, but really was a theory of evolution. That's what the Western philosophers talked about. What is the world? Where did it come from? What's it made out of? What do we do about it? The Buddhists were mostly talking about, how do I live in this world? What do I do to be a better person, to be a more effective worker in my work, to be a better father? Now, it is intrinsically interesting that some of these ideas are so old. A lot of people don't know that evolution is that old of an idea, 2,600 years ago. However, what interests me here is how central the concern with what the world is like was in Western culture and Western philosophy from the earliest recorded times. What is nature, they asked. Whereas the Buddhist philosophers investigated human nature while pretty much ignoring questions about the nature of the material world for several centuries. We basically ignored it. By about the 3rd or 4th century before the Common Era, a view of the world promoted by a monastic class of Dharma teachers, monks and the emerging nuns, this worldview promoted by a monastic class was emerging in India, and it was negative. Those guys, and it was initially all guys, monks, those monks were trying to attain a pristine, clear consciousness with which to see deeply into themselves. And the world was just in the way. The world was just in a variety of ways in their way. However, over time, we are a developmental tradition, and what the Mahayana came to describe as the unifying, interpenetrating interdependence of all, we hear that, interdependence, but really, if you look at Theravada, if you look at the old texts, it's just a description of the structure of the chains that bind us. Interdependence was not a good thing originally. We came, the Mahayana, the 200 of the 201 schools that survived, we came to say, no, it is a good thing. It means everything is deeply connected. But in the early days of Buddhist history, it was just a chain, a description of the chains that bind us, interdependence, heavy on the dependence. Fortunately, Buddhist tradition is developmental. It moves on. We are MoveOn.Buddha. And we moved on to a more positive way of viewing the world. In the larger stream of Buddhist tradition, we came to say that reality, such as it truly is, spontaneously permeates, perfumes, and positively transforms us. This is a very different view from the early Buddhist view that the world is pretty much in the way. The early Buddhist view is pretty much the world's, if anything, just in the way of our spiritual development. The world is good as we came to see it. The Mahayana came to see the world as good. And this is why Mahayana Buddhists stopped talking about emptiness so much. Now, originally, we moved on to talk about tathata, reality such as it truly is, or suchness, as D.T. Suzuki put it. That became our key term, tathata, reality such as it truly is, along with Buddha nature. These became our key concepts, not emptiness. Buddhists always taught, that for anyone, enlightenment can be attained, eventually. But the Mahayana came to say that what this means is that we all have Buddha nature. And from the earliest times in history, the Buddhist monks and nuns, they spoke of human nature as nothing but a bundle of greed, lust, longing, anxiety, and stupidity. However, within the first 8 to 10 centuries, we came to see reality as nurturing, a nurturing suchness, and we came to see ourselves as being possessed of Buddha nature. Very much of a move into the light, a positive development, positive ways of speaking. Developmentally, over a period of time, Buddhist tradition came to speak in positive terms about the world and about humans. Speaking about emptiness, shunyata, this was actually part of an optimistic movement initially, because the nature of the Mahayana pretty much developed using that notion, emptiness, but what the concept of emptiness was developed to give us a sense of openness and freedom. What that meant was openness, freedom, potentiality. But emptiness, isn't that kind of a negative term? Over time, lay Buddhists particularly, came to see it as negative. And as you know, before I became Jodo Shinshu Buddhist, I practiced Zen Buddhism, and I discovered Shinran's commentaries on the Pure Land tradition, and that drew me toward the vow. But one of the teachers in the Zen stream Mahayana whom I studied with was Masao Abe. And I've told some of this anecdote, but I don't think I've ever said it online. So I think this is the first time a Dharma Message is recorded. Abe Sensei came to class one day, graduate theological union, after he'd seen his first Roadrunner cartoon. And he was just knocked out. And he's going, oh, this great cartoon. You know, this dog is chasing this bird. And this bird runs off the side of the cliff right over to the other side, no problem. And the dog runs halfway across and looks down and falls. And Abe Sensei says, that's all of us. There's nothing there. And if it bothers you, you fall like the dog. And if it doesn't bother you, you just move right onto the other side, right onto the other shore, just like the roadrunner, just like the bird. So that's all I need to tell you about emptiness. And you can see how it could be a positive thing, but in fact, historically, we moved away from that concept. Emptiness just became too dry of a concept to engage large numbers of people's attention. So the newer, more positive ways of speaking about ourselves and the world developed. Reality is such as it truly is. Reality such as it truly is suchness. It is positive. It spontaneously perfumes, permeates, transforms our delusions. This is a pretty positive view. Reality such as it is works to cleanse our delusions. Buddha nature is our inalienable potential to become Buddhas, to awaken. In truth, at a certain point, things went too far. By the 6th century, in China, Zhi started saying that we are originally enlightened. We're already enlightened. You just forgot or something. I'm sorry, that's just not true. Sometimes people are just wrong. That's the wrong way to look at it. The Tendai school and its spin-off Zen Buddhism pretty much reintroduced the discredited soul theory with their view of Hongaku, that we are originally enlightenment. Deep inside of me, there's enlightenment. Well, that's like that soul theory. That's not true. I'm really this biological person with all these desires and all these fears and anxieties. This is who I am. I am not really originally, truly deep inside enlightened. Again, a reintroduction of the discredited soul view, I think, this idea of original enlightenment. And Honen and Shinran rejected it, said, no, that's not right. You do have Buddha nature. Reality is positive and nurturing, but it's not like it's already done. The deed is not yet done. We have not yet awoken. The Pure Land stream of Mahayana is hopeful and optimistic, but we are also realistic. Enlightenment is just not there. It has to develop. It has to develop in our lives. It has to flow into our lives from the Buddha's realm of light. I am not already enlightened. We're going to read the Golden Chain. I should have done that before the Dharma Message, sorry. But I'm going to read the Golden Chain, and we're going to sing Hotokesama, which are very light, positive pieces that were originally designed for Dharma school, for our children. I can be positive and I can have a light touch on occasion. We should on occasion be able to do that, but I am not myself already enlightened. I have been assured of a pending awakening. It's like those letters you get from Publishers Warehouse. You may already be enlightened. No, I'm not, but I am promised to be. I have a promise. You will be enlightened. Just turn this, like Nebraska, the movie Nebraska with my good friend Bruce Stern. You just take your certificate and they're going to give you a truck, maybe, if you just drive all the way to Nebraska from Montana. But anyway, the point is, I do have this promise. You've received this promise. There's every reason to be hopeful and optimistic, but we're not there yet. We're just not there yet. We're still on the journey. So please join me, hopefully, optimistically, and in a positive spirit with our feet planted firmly in the real world in saying the Buddha's name in Gassho. In closing the Dharma Message portion of the service, may I ask you to join me for a little bit in saying the Buddha's name. 30 seconds? 45? We rely upon the source of limitless wisdom and endless life. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. So I'm sorry for forgetting the proper order of things. I'll do the reflective reading. That's what's on our screen. Who knows what people at home are seeing. Please forgive me for being disorganized, but I will ask you to join me if you do, if you have the golden chain handy. And as we're seeing on our screen, it's page 8 in the lovely little Seiten that Orange County Buddhist Church produced for all of us, the Shin Buddhist Service book, page 8, the golden chain. Join me right from the start, if you will. I am a link in Amida's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I will keep my link bright and strong. May I be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. May I think pure and beautiful thoughts, say pure and beautiful words, and do pure and beautiful deeds. May every link in Amida's golden chain of love be bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. We will move on to the Gatha, Hotokesama. We don't know. Are we doing 3 verses or 2, 1, 2, 3? Do we know? That's up to Kathy at home. 2? I'll do 2. Yeah, that's my preference. There's nothing wrong with the little third English verse, but except that I haven't got it memorized. So, so we'll do verses 1 and 2 of Hotokesama. Are you going to be able to play music for me, Alan, or no? Okay, good. That's just as well. I have trouble following music. So we're going to just make up the melody ourselves. I hope you will join me on a count of 3, 1, 2. No, 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 sama, Hotokesama. Watashi no suki na kasama no omune no yo ni yanwari to dakarete mitai Hotokesama. No, 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 sama Hotokesama. Watashi no suki na to-sama no otete no yo ni shikari to sugate mitai Hotokesama. Namo Amida Butsu, 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 Namo Amida Butsu. In just a moment, we will have announcements, but let me just say, we are pretty much back to normal now. We are open to the vaccinated, mask-wearing public. We have a BWA meeting coming up almost immediately, and then, it's not about half an hour, but then I'll be available to teach meditation if anyone wants it, and after that, I'll be available for a Buddhist study and discussion class. And we're going to be here Tuesday, 10 a.m. for a little discussion class, Tuesday evening, 6 p.m. for meditation, Tuesday evening, 7 p.m. for a Buddhist studies class. And then I'll be here in our garden classroom. We're not able to use the temple building yet. Still awaiting abatement of the asbestos, and we certainly appreciate those who have sent donations to help us with that major expense. I will see some of you on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 1 o'clock for the Tai Chi. And that pretty much concludes my announcements. Do any of our staff have further announcements? So I think that'll be it for tonight then, for today. Thank you so much. I will close the service with Gassho. Those who wish to, please join in saying the Buddha's name a few times. We rely upon the source of limitless wisdom and endless life. Namo Amida Butsu, 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 Namo Amida Butsu.